An airplane is a place of trust in metal, physics, and the unseen pilots behind the cockpit door. But on a clear evening above the Arabian Sea, that trust was shattered. Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, began a series of inexplicable maneuvers. The official report blamed a software glitch, a ghost in the machine that seized control from the pilots. This wasn't a storm or a mechanical failure, but a digital betrayal. The world learned of the tragedy in fragments: a deviated flight path, a sudden loss of altitude, a final, garbled transmission, then silence. The black boxes promised answers, but the data only deepened the mystery: a cascade of digital errors, a conversation between computers gone wrong. The term glitch became a placeholder for a failure few could comprehend, leaving the public to wonder how precision could turn so deadly. Flight 171's story is a modern parable about our reliance on technology we don't fully understand. We believe automation is infallible until it isn't. The pilots fought not a storm, but the very logic of their own aircraft. The investigation became a search for a digital needle in a haystack, forcing us to confront the fragility of our pact with the machines that carry us through the sky. Software glitch sounds harmless, a frozen app, a minor hiccup. In aviation, it's far more dangerous, a flaw in the logic that governs the machine. Imagine software as a recipe with millions of steps. A glitch is a single miswritten instruction, usually dormant until a rare combination of conditions brings it to life. When that happens, the system follows its flawed logic, convinced it's right, even if it overrides human intervention. In a Boeing 787, dozens of interconnected computers manage everything from flight controls to engine power. A glitch can start in one system, or more dangerously, in the communication between systems, triggering a chain reaction. This is a cascading failure. A small problem ripples through the network, creating chaos. So when we hear a glitch contributed to Flight 171's loss, it's not a simple malfunction. It's a hidden flaw in the aircraft's digital DNA, awakened by a perfect storm of flight conditions. The pilots weren't just facing a broken instrument, they were bombarded by confusing alerts and automated actions with no clear cause. They were trying to diagnose a problem buried deep in millions of lines of code. The glitch wasn't just a failure, it was a betrayal by the very system meant to protect them. In the cockpit, trust in technology became a matter of life and death. The final minutes of Air India 171, pieced together from data and reports, reveal order dissolving into chaos. Cruising at 36,000 feet, the first sign of trouble was subtle, a faulty angle of attack sensor. At first, backup systems filtered out the bad data, but a second software event gave undue weight to the faulty sensor. The aircraft's brain now listened to the wrong voice, believing it was in danger of stalling. It pushed the nose down, an automated command to prevent a stall that wasn't happening. The pilots, confused, fought back, but the system countered every move. Warnings blared, alarms flashed, and the cockpit became a battleground between human and machine. The data shows violent oscillations as pilots and automation fought for control. The last transmission was a desperate partial call. Then the aircraft plunged into the sea. The machine had won. To understand Flight 171, you must understand the airplane itself, a flying data center governed by software. In modern jets, pilots don't move control surfaces directly. They send electronic signals to computers which interpret and execute commands. Redundancy is built in multiple computers, and sensors check each other's work, designed to prevent a single failure from bringing down the plane. The software does more than fly, it protects, enforcing limits on speed, altitude, and angle to keep the plane safe. If a pilot tries to exceed these limits, the software intervenes. But this complexity is a double-edged sword. The pilot is no longer in direct command, but in constant negotiation with the software. If sensors feed bad data, the protective systems can become the problem. A system meant to prevent a stall might, with faulty input, cause a dive. The pilot is left fighting the very safety features meant to help, trying to convince the machine it's wrong. This is the new emergency, not just flying the plane, but battling its digital mind. The line between protection and peril is thinner than ever. In Flight 171, that line was fatally crossed. Air India 171's tragedy is part of a troubling pattern. The Boeing 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019 were driven by MCAS, a software system designed to prevent stalls. MCAS relied on a single sensor. When it failed, the system forced the nose down, overpowering pilots who didn't fully understand the new automation. The result, a fatal struggle between human and machine. Air France 447 in 2009 saw frozen sensors trigger autopilot disconnects and confusion, leading to a stall and crash despite a fully functional aircraft. These incidents share a theme, not mechanical failure, but breakdowns in the human-machine interface. Automation, meant to reduce error, sometimes creates new, more complex dangers. When pilots don't fully understand or can't override automation, disaster can follow. The lesson. The most critical component isn't just software, but the pilot's ability to understand and, when needed, take back control. Each tragedy is a warning about the limits of trust in technology. The final safeguard must always be a well-trained human. In today's cockpits, pilots are systems managers overseeing automation for most of the flight. But when automation fails, their role shifts instantly. They must diagnose and take control from a system that may be working against them. This is the paradox. We've automated the easy parts, leaving humans to solve the hardest, most confusing problems. When a glitch strikes, pilots must debug a computer in real time at 36,000 feet. The first challenge is recognizing the problem. Software failures often masquerade as ambiguous warnings or odd behavior. Once recognized, regaining control can be complex, requiring quick action under immense pressure. Past disasters show that pilots sometimes lack the training or authority to override automation. The partnership between pilot and technology is delicate when trust breaks the pilot's skill, and intuition are the last defense. Flight 171 reminds us no matter how advanced the system's safety ultimately depends on the human in the cockpit. The ghost in the machine can only be exorcised by knowledge, preparation, and decisive action. Years after the report on Flight 171, the true cause remains elusive. Software failures leave no physical wreckage, only digital traces and unanswered questions. The official verdict: a rare interaction between a faulty sensor and a latent software flaw triggered the fatal dive. A patch was issued, but doubts linger. Was it a single glitch, or a deeper flaw in the system's logic? Did a recent software update introduce new vulnerabilities? The facts: the automation acted on bad data, the pilots fought, and the plane was lost. The speculation: why did the system fail, and could the pilots have done more? Air travel remains an act of faith in designers, coders, and pilots. The legacy of Flight 171 is a somber reminder. Every failure drives progress, but the burden of trust is never light.